Today on 5 Kilotones, we're having a look at the Eventide H9. If you're at all familiar with the H9, you know this could easily be an episode of 5,000 kilotones. There are so many amazing effect algorithms in here and so many possibilities, but this was the centerpiece of my old amp-based rig when I was running an amp and a pedal board and playing live. I used it a lot for textures on Ragdoll's Back to Zero album, and I want to show you guys 5 of my favorite algorithms in here and how I go about using them. Let's go. One of the more out there effects is the arpeggiator. This is a dual voice arpeggiator that lets you select from a bunch of different preset sequences, rhythms, and effects. So this is what we can do with it. Let's go through and select, say, sequence number 1 over here. Let's have a listen to it. You get the idea there. Being able to select between a whole bunch of different rhythms can be really, really inspiring. And I've used this a lot on recordings where I don't necessarily want to like plug a synth in to do some sound design stuff. I'm just noodling around playing guitar, and just by moving the sliders around in H9 Control, you can get so many cool different tones and stuff that can inspire you. And that's the whole point with a piece of gear like this. Well, it is for me anyway. You know, just by being able to like slide some knobs, I can get new sounds that I've never even heard before. Out of all the sounds that I've demonstrated here, this is probably the most vanilla out of all of them. This is just the mod delay algorithm, and I normally just set it up for a straight up quarter note, dotted eighth note delay with a little bit of modulation on there. You can see the settings up there. It's just such a satisfying sound to play guitar with. But the cool thing about the mod delay algorithm is you can also use it to build things like a chorus. For example, if I set the feedback to 0, I'm going to turn the tempo off. I'm going to set the delay times to be really short, say 3 milliseconds for delay 1, 5 milliseconds to delay 2, and I'll blend the delay mix right up there. I'll set the wet mix to about 50, so we get a 50-50 wet-dry split. And you know, let's go for something like a triangle, and I'll turn the mod speed up and the filter down a little bit. This is a great sounding chorus effect. And being able to control the wave shape is really cool. For example, this would be the same settings but with a sine LFO. So that sounds fantastic, and it's also just great as a single delay. You know, if you wanted like 300-ish milliseconds with the wet mix at about 25%, I'm going to swap over to a lead sound and just play a little bit with this. I'm going to turn all the modulation right down as well, and just a little bit of feedback. And you know, this is really satisfying for playing lead guitar too. And having control over the actual delay tone using the filter control, 80s may be a little bit high, but it lets you roll off a bunch of high end if you want to get those warm analog style delays, which I absolutely love. My absolute favorite effect in the H9 though is the undulator algorithm. It sounds like a combination of like a tremolo and some kind of feedback delay and panning, and rather than try to talk about it, I'm just going to show you a couple of the sounds. You can choose between a pitch undulator and a feedback undulator. I'll just swap between the two of them, but this one really speaks for itself. I just love it. One of the reasons I bought the H9 was for the shimmer reverb, but I actually found that after using it for a little bit of time, I wasn't so into the octave up shimmer effect. I liked using it as a combination of reverb and a stereo pitch detune. Eventide obviously are synonymous with pitch detune, so I think this is something that this unit does really well. You can see here that pitch A and pitch B, I'll set them so that they're equal. 13 cents of detune either side, together with heaps of reverb. This is a sound that I used a lot on Ragdoll's Back to Zero album. It's the sound of the clean guitar on the title track as well. I love the way that one decays as well. This is a great one on synth or any type of sound design thing you're doing as well. To round things out is the Ultra Tap algorithm. This one came free when I bought my H9, and I didn't really understand it for a long time, but for me, I like using this as a faux gated reverb or like a non-linear reverb kind of thing. So I'll show you how it works. The best way to get a handle on this, set the mix to about 50%, set the number of taps to 1, basically set everything else to 0 to start with, level it out. We'll leave chop off, I'm not going to use that at all, and tone there. So this is what it sounds like. And what you can do is increase the number of taps. So like try 2 taps. So we'll try 3 because I turned it there. And you can hear that as you add more and more taps in that, whatever the time is here, 837 milliseconds, it's going to subdivide that into a number of delays. So they're all going to come in really quickly. But the trick is this slurm control, which acts like a diffusion parameter. So at 0, That's where the magic's at. If you turn Slurm up to 100%, then you get this kind of non-linear reverb effect. You can also play around with the spread. So if you turn up to 100, and you play around with the taper as well to control whether you want like a long gap and then a lot of short repeats, or the opposite kind of effect. You can hear that as you turn taper down, you get that classic like non-linear ramp up reverb in there. So with the mix quite low, this is a really, really cool effect. If you're sort of into the 80s style stuff, or I think it was the Yamaha SPX had like a ramp reverb. These are really, really classic, 80s effects that are very much coming back into vogue. You can do them, you can get non-linear reverb, but it's in the Ultra Tap algorithm. If I was using this with a distorted sound, I would turn the length down a little bit, maybe to about half a second, and the mix down a little bit, so that it doesn't mess everything up, but it gives you this. So I absolutely love the Ultra Tap algorithm as that faux non-linear reverb. You can combine this with other effects, for example, in your rig, and you could probably use this together with like a reverse delay and get reverse reverbs and stuff like that. So the Ultra Tap, even though it's kind of sold as a delay, really it's great for faux reverb kind of tones. There you have it, 5 kilotones with the Eventide H9. There are so many great sounding algorithms, so many great tones on tap with this thing that I would love to hear from you guys on your favorite settings or your favorite ways to use this pedal. And please let me know which out of these 5 you enjoyed the most. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the subscribe button, and I will see you all next time.